Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another day, another show by the BW Hotelier. Welcome to the 8th show of the newest BWH series, the GM Show. This show has two firsts. It is our first show of the new year. And of course, this is our first show with the Central region. I don't know how many companies, how many media houses have ever looked at the Central region with a searchlight that we wish to bring in there. Coming week, we will now be beginning the second phase of this series when we move back to the north on January 20th, hosting our third show there. Before we will move on to the fourth there, immediately after on the 27th of January. And then we head back to the west, south, east, and then we strike one big one, doing a first again by any media house. That'll be a focus show on the northeast. Welcome again to yet another episode. And this one is tier 2, the new mini metros. Why must metros have all the fun? Till now, we've all been focusing on Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, or perhaps Kolkata. Not too much even on Kolkata, but we are going to move down to the tier 2s and tier 3s as well soon. Please block your time, 5 p.m. every Thursday for the GM show. We'll be there for a few more weeks. And if you have any queries and you want to reach out to us, it's easy. Call us if you have the number. I won't flash the number here, but do write to us at bwhotelier@businessworld.in, bwhotelier@businessworld.in, and we'd be happy to reach out to you ASAP. Tonight, this evening, the show host is BW Hotelier, but moderating along with me is Kanika Hasrat, all the way from Bhopal. I shall read about her. Kanika is presently working as the area director for the states of UP, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttarakhand, and is also the general manager for the iconic Taj Lakefront in Bhopal. She's the opening general manager, and she now heads the asset, apart from her large business. Having worked with various brands and positions, Kanika takes pride in being a change leader who drives performance, skill, and results by building teams with focus. Now I shall head on to introducing very briefly the general managers on the show. We have Vivek Sharma from the Taj Ganges, Varanasi. He also heads the Taj Nadesar Palace. We have Rohit Bajpai, who's the general manager of the Sheraton Grand Palace Indore. We have Karaan, Kapoor, who's the general manager of the Hyatt Raipur. We have Gaurav, Rege, who's the general manager of the Jehan Palace in Bhopal. We have Sunil, Verma, who's the general manager of the Novotel, Lucknow, Gomti, Nagar. We have Banerjee, who's the general manager of the Radisson Blue Hotel in Indore. I did a misstep. I'm coming back to reading about Kanika. It's a good introduction that we've written. Having worked with various brands and positions, Kanika takes pride in being a change leader who drives performance, skill, and results by building teams with focus. With over 3 decades of experience, she has had exposure across various operations with strong business acumen, brand building, strategy, business development, revenue enhancement, finance, and operational consulting. She's been associated with some of the best hotel chains in opening and operating their hotels. Kanika has worked for IHC Hotels and Resorts, JW Marriott. She also headed the Courtyard by Marriott Hotels in India and overseas. She's been awarded and recognized by the industry's leading hospitality associations and publications. Welcome to your new role as the moderator of this show, Kanika. All right. Without much ado, I shall hand over the baton to Kanika to take this ahead. Over to you, Kanika.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh, for that wonderful welcome. And it's great to be on the BW show. Thank you, BW communities, for always watching the back of us hoteliers. You've been a guiding arm support to all of us over these turbulent times, and we are grateful for that. Today, as we talk about the new mini metros, why should metros have all the fun? So I think you're going to meet a delightful group on the panel today, a team who's very passionate about the areas they work in, they operate in. I'll introduce our panelists. Let me start with Rohit Bajpai. Rohit is the general manager at the Sheraton Grand Palace, Indore. With over 22 years of experience, Rohit is a multifaceted hospitality leader, having worked with reputed brands like the ITC, Hilton, Shangri-La, Radisson, and now Marriott International. He is a pre-opening specialist and the pre-opening leader for Sheraton Grand Palace at Indore, where he currently operates. Mr. Karan Kapoor is the general manager at the Hyatt in Raipur, a hotelier with a demonstrated history of versatile work experience in the industry. Before joining Hyatt, Karan worked with the Oberoi Group of Hotels for 12 years, post-graduating from the Oberoi Center for Learning and Development. He has been spearheading core hotel operations across cities. He joined Raipur in 2021, shifting gears from his erstwhile position as Director of Food and Beverage at the Hyatt Regency Mumbai. He is a pioneer in adopting innovating or trending concepts and executing them in his properties, generating additional revenues, great for both chain and ownership. My colleague in Bhopal and fellow hotelier, Gaurav Rege. Gaurav is an alumni of the Oberoi Center of Learning and Development and also the general manager at the Jehan Palace, Bhopal. With genuine warmth, Gaurav is a thoroughbred hospitality professional with a vast experience of working in some of the best brands in our country. Oberoi Hotels, the Leela, Ananda in the Himalayas, and others. Sunil is the general manager of the Novotel, Lucknow, Gomti, Nagar. A seasoned hotelier with over 22 years of experience with leading brands across a broad spectrum of hospitality functions, including sales and marketing, finance, and human resources. Sunil holds specialization in hotel operations and is an avid interest in food and beverage. He also has hands-on operational knowledge, especially in pre-opening, setups, and managing financial sustainability in hotels. His journey with Accor began a decade ago in 2011, and over his continuing tenure, Sunil has held leadership positions across 3 different Accor brands, including a short stint at Accor India corporate office. Manas Banerjee. Manas is the general manager of the Radisson Blue Hotel Indore, an astute hotelier with over 23 years of experience with 9 years in general management, managing hotels across brands like Hyatt, IHG, and currently is with Radisson. Manas has been part of the rebranding exercise of the first lifestyle hotel of Hyatt, Hyatt-centric Bangalore. His core strengths are innovative food and beverage operations, pre-opening and revenue management, especially in difficult markets, helping deliver results to both brand and ownership. Mr. Vivek Sharma. Vivek is my colleague from Taj. He's the general manager of the Taj Ganges Varanasi and the Taj Nadesar Palace. Vivek started his career as a management trainee with IHCL and has spent his initial years in food and beverage operations. His industry experience of about 20 years is spread over resorts, luxury, and business hotels, covering most of India's cities with large hotels like New Delhi, Agra, Kolkata, Pune, Bangalore, Gwalior, and also 5 years in the Maldives. Vivek's role in Ganges and Varanasi and Nadesar Palace, which is a dual responsibility, is a second general manager role, prior to which he was handling the Usha Kiran Palace Gwalior. That makes him the ideal candidate today to talk about the 2 states we are going to cover in the conversation today.
An excellent introduction, Kanika, to all our esteemed panelists. We have a great lineup. I mean, together, if you were to see, we've almost got 200 years of experience sitting amongst all the speakers on the show. That's a lot for an industry which is trying to carve a niche for itself, despite all the odds that we faced between 2020 and now. The worst is behind us, but let me start with Kanika. business in the region. You have a large portfolio. Why don't we start with Madhya Pradesh, which is not just the centralmost state, but centralmost state in more manners than one. It is a huge state. Imagine a state that is bigger than most countries in Europe and Asia, barring China and India, and is a giant in any sense, be it industry or agriculture, or for that matter, spiritual and wildlife tourism. And throw in some historic locations, you have it all going as a composite package. What is the Madhya Pradesh idea of bringing in tourists, not just from the 5 border states, be it Uttar Pradesh in the north or Chhattisgarh towards the east, or for that matter, towards the south, you've got Maharashtra, and the west, you've got Gujarat and Rajasthan. But what about getting tourists from all over India and overseas?
So, Bhuvanesh, you're absolutely right. Madhya Pradesh is indeed a very large state, 3 lakh square kilometers plus, the second largest state in the country. It is also a state which offers everything you spoke about and more. Three UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Bhimbetka Rock Shelters, Sanchi and Khajuraho, 11 national parks, 24 wildlife sanctuaries, 6 tiger reserves. 2 of India's 12 Jyotirlingams, which every Indian is supposed to actually visit to get moksha, are in Madhya Pradesh. It's Mahakaleshwar and Omkaleshwar. The state has got palaces, it's got forts, it's got royal heritage. The Mughal rule in Bhopal, erstwhile Mughal rule here, and the Hindu rule at Gwalior. So it's also the Gwalior fort is supposed to be the most impregnable impregnable fort ever built. Along with there's a city which is on the banks of the Narmada, which is Maheshwar. Again, a gorgeous fort as well as an amazing city. So it's also a state which offers river rafting opportunities, skydiving, parasailing. It's got, adventure tourism is available at every spot. The Chhatris of Orcha actually, they're great. It's a great Instagram opportunity, and I say it honestly, the Madhya Pradesh government does an amazing job on Instagram. You must have a look. It's called MP Tourism is their Insta handle. So the Chhatris of Orcha, like I was saying, have the river flowing right in front of it, and people do river rafting there. Parasailing at Panchmani, it's in the heart of the country and a hill station with the temperature of -2 as we speak today. So it's got a hill station in Madhya Pradesh. Boating by the marble cliffs of the Narmada banks have got marble cliffs, unheard of, some of the most beautiful sights. So yes, apart from all this which I spoke about, also the food. It's the heart of the country, it's the center of the country. The food has got experiences from everywhere. Now, apart from that, it's got its own indigenous food, which is the food of the erstwhile, tribals. So MP's got a lot to offer, and today's entrepreneurs are using that great alluvial soil, which is, MP has always been known for its MP atta, right? MP wheat. And some of the best rice today comes from MP. So that great soil is also being used to do organic food. There's so many entrepreneurs growing it. Nagpur was known for oranges. Soon Bhopal is going to have amazing organic oranges flooding markets. So MP has got a lot. I've told you the tourism department's doing a lot. Recently, they actually had an MP tourism stall at a pavilion at the Dubai Expo for almost 30 days. So they are marketing the state externally to the world. And I say it as hoteliers, it's a joint responsibility to let our fellow, domestic clients, our fellow travelers know how much there is. And I definitely tell most people, in the year of the tiger, go look at a tiger. MP is the state of the state of the tiger.
So there is so much happening in Madhya Pradesh. You see, irony is we're all exploring the world, right? We are going out, spending dollars. I guess it's nice to have on your Instagram and social media that we've traveled overseas. But if we were only interested in seeing what India has to offer,
absolutely,
right? The heartland of India, be it Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, any state, we have so much. You've got people who come in from overseas to experience the wildlife parks, the animal resorts of Madhya Pradesh, we ourselves haven't seen it. So Kanika, that's, you summed it up so well. I mean, I know for that matter, when we go to buy wheat, we go to buy atta, right? The maximum premium we pay is for atta, which comes from Madhya Pradesh, right? So there you are. Thank you for that. So let me now hand over the show to you to take ahead.
I'll talk. My first question will go to my colleague in Bhopal, Gaurav. Gaurav, Bhopal's definitely the city of Nawabs, so let me put it as the city of Begums. It's also the city of lakes. 17 natural man-made lakes, the 16th largest city of India, 131st in the world. A state capital which is green, lush, and really gorgeous. It has so much to offer, including, I mean, the food, the heritage. It's got great connectivity, rail. The roadways in Madhya Pradesh are brilliant, as well as air connectivity is growing as we speak. What do you think should be the way forward to grow, I mean, our domestic, that is Desi and Videshi tourism into Bhopal?
Kanika, I mean, ma'am, thank you so much for all your kind words. You've already covered a lot about Bhopal. I'll start with saying that when people across India think of Bhopal, they think of 1984 and the gas tragedy. But but what has been happening in the last 38 years, the state government, they've had the BJP government for a very long time, and it's been a very stable government. MP tourism has been extremely active in this state, and they really have been, trying to put Bhopal on the world map and trying to get in investment. They're trying to get in other businesses coming in. The Taj Hotel that Kanika ma'am heads is an excellent example. There's a Radisson also that has opened up in Bhopal very, very recently. The beauty of Bhopal is the simplicity of life over here, which is very, very honest. If I am to say, if I speak to a local, people are very, very proud of the fact, or rather they take pride in the fact that they are from Bhopal. And that really is what has to be sold when we're talking about Central India. In my personal opinion, I think Rajasthan is oversold. Or for that matter, when we think of a holiday, we think of Goa. But let's be fair, most clients who come to five-star hotels think of Goa for the beaches and or for the cheap liquor that we get. But that is available even over here. In fact, most clients that I speak to who come to our hotel, they don't even enter a beach when they get into Goa. So if it's not the literal water, why not try something which is authentic, which has so much of culture, which has tons of heritage and easily accessible from every corner of the country? There is hardly a train that does not pass through Bhopal. The Shatabdi takes just about 8 hours from Delhi. You've got flight connectivity from everywhere. And this is a place wherein if you come for a vacation or a holiday, you don't need a holiday once you get back, which is a typical complaint that a lot of people have, that I've just come from a holiday and now I need a break to recover from the holiday. So Bhopal is not like that. The ease of connectivity. Oh, I don't know how many of you know, but there is no traffic in Bhopal, and which is a brilliant selling point. If you are to go in and plan an itinerary for yourself while you're here in Bhopal, you can plan about a half a day's itinerary, make it enriching. And the remaining part of the day, you literally enjoy the hotel, the food, the hospitality without really stretching it into the early morning hours each night. I can keep going on. A great example is I'm a Bombay boy, or I belong to Pune. My wife's from Bombay. I have been here in this city. This is my 7th year running. And that in itself talks about the kind of value that a city like this can add to yourself. It's got everything. It is the state capital. So obviously it has all the bureaucracy. It has everything that a typical person can ask for, be it a traveler, be it from a work perspective. But at the same time, it's got the lush green lawns. It's got open spaces, and overall the city is very beautiful and easy to live in.
Thank you, Gaurav. You sold it to me and I'm here. Manas. I'm going to talk about our neighbor, Indore. Indore is the cleanest city of India 5 years in a row. It's not only considered the financial capital of MP, but it's also the transport hub for the whole country. It's the heart of the transport hub. Right next to Indore is also Pithampur, which is the home of the biggest industries, as well as it has a lot of new upcoming businesses in that area. Indore also knows, of course, for its sarafa and its amazing food. What do you think Indore could do more of to help it get its true prominence as far as tourism goes? How do you think Indore can get more tourists into it?
Thank you, Kanika, for giving me this opportunity to highlight this state, not taking away anything from what Gaurav has said. I think as a neighboring state, I give all the credit, and we enjoy a lot of benefit from the neighboring city, actually. So as you rightly said, Indore is also the business capital of MP. Currently, as we talk about it, I think the city claims to be the largest economy of MP. Pithampur, again, which is called the Detroit of India, is housing currently 1,200 industrial units. And Indore is well connected to one of the Jyotirlingas at both sides, or rather, I would say two sides, Jyotirlingas, which we talk about. And so there is nothing which is lacking. It's just that the state needs to just market it properly, is what we feel. And it has been actively doing it since the last 2 years. From the time I've been in the city since 2019. And as you are sold out to Bhopal, I am predominantly a metro guy sold out to Indore. I love this quietness of the city, still giving everything else what is there. So we have seen this changing over the last 2 years in such a way where the first global summit for MP, I think, was in 2019, where we saw a lot of interest from a lot of people setting up houses. In the last 1 year, the tourism itself in this city has developed. We are seeing about 4 to 5 hotels coming up this year. And that itself shows the potential of what the tourism can be in this. Socials are a big thing to talk about. While people do prefer other places like Goa or Rajasthan, we have seen the influx of those marriages to Indore when in difficult times. So that was considered to be the safest city in terms of, because of the cleanliness, because of what it already carries at its name tag. Not to take away the credit from the food that the city has, with the variety of food that the city has. Sarafa has been one of the talking points. Everybody goes crazy over Sarafa, and we now have this local administration getting up to get the organized Sarafa, which is called the Chappan Dukan. So there is an organized Sarafa, which is basically now taking center stage. And I think it's just a matter of time that people start realizing the potential of the city. It's already a hub to automobiles. It's already a place which is catering to 1/3 of the namkeen of the entire Indian community, entire Indian. So it's a huge, and we have seen almost 5 clusters coming up in the last few months from the city itself. So hoping that eventually things will take size and Indore will take a center stage for the MP tourism as well.
Wonderful. So apart from what you spoke about, you also got a lot of heritage buildings like the Rajwada Palace, the Lal Bagh Palace, Central Museum, Kanch Mandir. So there's a lot for a tourist also to do.
Yes, all these are getting restored also. I mean, a lot of them were not taken care of earlier, and we see a lot of focus upon this to be restored currently. And I'm sure with that, a lot of people will just take religious tourism also into a larger way to the city itself, actually.
So while we're talking Indore, I'll go to Rohit. Rohit, you are an avid animal wildlife lover, and I remember you mentioning that you take one wildlife trip every year. You are in the perfect state for that. So, like we said earlier, MP has got 11 national parks, 24 wildlife sanctuaries, 6 tiger reserves, and 3.5% of its land, of the total geographical land, is covered by natural reserves and these parks. Khanna, Bandhavgarh, Madhav, Sanjay National Park, these are all common names. One, we are right in the heart of the city of Bhopal. Panna National Park, Satpura. There's also the fossil park, and which is Mandla. What do you think MP tourism could do, or we as the hospitality tourism community could do, to create an annual circuit which would draw not only, of course, domestic, but also the international customer?
Yes, thank you, Kanika, for giving me this opportunity. Good evening, everyone. Happy Lodi. We are talking to each other on a beautiful day, and hopefully, the God blesses us from here on as well. No, so I think you're absolutely bang on. Madhya Pradesh does boast of some of the premier wildlife sanctuaries and national parks. In fact, Jungle Book was written here about almost 100 years ago, 120 years ago. Mr. Kipling spent quite a lot of time here in those times, even when the roads were not there. So nobody stops us from exploring that. However, I feel like Manas rightly said, and Gaurav rightly said for his city. MP as a administrative unit of MP in Madhya Pradesh. People have been trying. People have been making efforts. There have been forays into the roads and infrastructure and Pitampurs of the world, and there's a Natrax racetrack coming up in Indore. However, from a wildlife tourism point of view, it has all not been brought together. If you see the example of Rajasthan, which has beautifully, put all the pearls in one necklace and made a palace on wheels, which gives them some huge amount of revenue. If you see Karnataka, they have another version of palace on wheels running near Shravanbelagola and Raichur and Chitradurg and all those places. And then, of course, you have the beautiful Konkan Railway, cutting across the near the ocean. I think that's where MP needs to go as well, because, like you said, as an avid wildlife lover, if I plan to go to Satpura, then go to Bandhavgarh, and then Pench, and then Kana, it doesn't work out because right now there is no linkage which puts all these pearls together into a necklace. So I think that's one opportunity area because there is no dearth of good hotels there. If you see, there are some fantastic hotels there. I won't name the brands, but all of us know there are some fantastic hotels of your company, some other companies. There is no. I've been to all these places, whether it's Bandhavgarh, whether it's Pench, Kanha. There's no dearth of facilities, infrastructure. There is no dearth of modern amenities like a Wi-Fi at places and business centers. So that also being available. In fact, I know a lot of places who did their staycation during the lockdown in all these places, amongst the tigers. So the only need, I think, is a common thread point, which the government needs to sort of instigate, and we as hoteliers need to sort of come together and allow that to happen. Because once that happens, it gives a package to someone who's probably working in National Geographic in US or a Discovery Channel in Australia and wants to do something, wants to shoot a film, general and wildlife lovers who want to go around the circuit. So I think once that circuit is made, I remember chatting with Bhuvanesh a few days ago, and he gave a beautiful example of the Paris-Dakar rally. Paris-Dakar rally was just it was nothing actually, if you ask me. And now you have people tracking it all over the world. People talking about it. There's a different Senegalese circuit, Mauritanian, then there's a different French. So I think that's what needs to be done from my point of view for the wildlife tourism, whether it's running of multiple trains, whether it's running of a system where people log into the system, not physically, but literally, get hooked onto the system where there is a circuit. People know what to expect from the circuit. People know the kind of packages, and then it all brings it together. Because right now, like you rightly said, Panchmani being a biosphere reserve, there is Satpura. It's beautiful. It's got a different climate. It's got similar flora and fauna. But you go to Bandhavgarh, there's Dhuadhar Fall near Jabalpur. There's a different feel to it. You go to Pench. Pench is very dark and gloomy. So it's got many worlds into one. And having said that, if there is an opportunity where a government push can happen, infrastructure is available, is just about putting it together as a circuit. I think that circuit will really do the trick from the wildlife point of view.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rohit. So we move to Karan. Karan, you recently moved not very long back into your current role at Raipur. Could you just give us a brief perspective of what are the tourism opportunities? What is it that the local state government could do to help improve tourism potential as well as, of course, revenues and entice more travelers into Raipur? What are the opportunities you see, especially for leisure as well as for business?
So to begin with, I guess 1 lakh square meter carved out of Madhya Pradesh in 2000. Our state is probably one of the youngest, so I would say that behaves like millennials and Gen Z also at times. The current is pretty much the people are quite charged. They are well connected to the main cities. They have, I think, all like I said, that when the child is growing up, all you need to throw light is on the qualities. And I guess since the state is growing up from the recent times, the qualities pertaining to tourism, we have to just throw light on. I think the focus of state is pretty much just on the business, because it's very, very resourceful state in terms of, one may faintly recall the predominance of this state when we look at the development of the country. The cement hub, the steel hub, the coal ore, 16% reserve here. That is what gives immense business to the state. Even while in the pandemic situation, while the contribution towards the GST was going down south by most of the states, this was the only state which has gone north. In terms of business is what, since the focus is, so people travel to Durg for rich in limestone mineral ores, Korba, which is the power capital of India, home for NTPC, Bhilai, which is home for SAIL. People have actually forgotten that apart from this business districts, they also have some archaeological sites to be seen. So Chhattisgarh, the name primarily came from 36 forts which the state had and was supposed to be recognized and got lost in transit in the business. I guess it's time to recognize that government is pretty open, and they have plans. When the local body meetings are happening, they are wanting to build tourism. All these places, when we go and when one has to stay in Barnavapara or Chitrakoot Falls, there's very well maintained government guest houses. I guess it's us as hospitality companies and leaders, we'll have to also reach the government to find that if we can expand our footprints and make our services available.
So amazing opportunities in Raipur. I think all hospitality leaders should start looking and pegging dots on that map there. Vivek, I come to you. You are in Varanasi, the Prime Minister's constituency. It's a land of plenty at the moment. It's been in the news for all the right reasons. And not only rapid development, but the beautiful Kashi Vishwanath corridor. So I'm sure you have the blessings of the Lord Almighty, along with the Prime Minister's blessings at the moment. So business definitely in Varanasi looks good. The city also is very well connected, and the growing connections, especially with the ring road, with the airport, with, of course, it was always a central point for the railways. So the opportunity immense, business looks good. What more can hoteliers or the hotel community do to put more dots on the map over there? What are the opportunities and what are the business you are seeing? What is happening in not only your hotel but other hotels, and how was the New Year Christmas period for you?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. And Kanika, thank you for the opportunity. Varanasi is the oldest living city, and it has attracted people from years and ages of different age groups would come here. Most of the time, religion is the key, what people associate the place with. But I think culture is the bigger story to narrate. When I talk of culture, of course, religion is a part of it. You have Sarnath, which is the, Buddhist circuit key player. Then we have the Jyotirling here, the Vishwanath temple and the other key temples. People also, are very, very interested in the pillar of music. So the Banaras Gharana with Indian classical music, the Kathak Gharana also comes from here. The food is also a central pillar to the whole story. We talk about the street food, the kachori bhajis, the malayos, the Ramnagar ki lassi, which people just come here to get those food elements to their taste buds. Also, there's a unique story which is coming out of Varanasi is the local products. And it's being marketed very, very well with the support of our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, as well. We talk about the wooden toys. We talk about, of course, the Banarsi silk, the carpet industry, which is here, the the meenakari work, the gulabi meenakari work. This all actually make people to come to Varanasi. If you look at the last 2 months, of course, November, December, the period of Christmas and New Year, so a lot of footfalls into the city. Marketing also plays a big role in this. On 30th of December, the Kashi Vishwanath corridor opened up, which was marketed very, very well and was all over the news and channels, which had people to come over and see the corridor. But I don't think it's just the result of what has happened in last few days. I think there has been a systematic approach of building to bring people to Varanasi. And I would explain you why. There were two core reasons why people were hesitant to travel to Varanasi. One was people never associated this place with a lot of cleanliness. And the other reason why people were hesitant of the narrow lanes, the traffic on the roads, how would you reach the temple? There may be somebody who may take an advantage of the situation. And what has happened with all these, the systematic development which has taken place is the government has tried to build a good infrastructure into the place. Example of the Kashi Vishwanath corridor, which has actually built a world-class temple where people can now go and have an easy darshan. Also, this is just the phase 1 which is open. The phase 2, once it opens up in the coming months, would connect the temple with the river directly. And people can beat all the traffic, enjoy a boat ride, and come into the temple straight from the riverside. We look at the other infrastructure approach which is the government has taken. We have recently opened up 1,200-seater convention center with the Japanese collaboration, which is the Rudraksh Convention Center. It gives city a facility to host 1,200 people in one go for a cultural event, for a seminar, for a medical conference, and you can combine leisure with business. Also, we were talking about the whole road infrastructure which has come in and around the city. What it has done to the city, it has connected all the big cities in and around Varanasi with drivable distances. We, as a company, while this COVID was happening, came out with initiatives like Dekho Apna Desh. We came out with the 4D initiatives where we wanted people to travel by road and visit our hotels. This was the best example where people from Lucknow, Kanpur, Prayagraj actually traveled by road and visited Varanasi because the infrastructure of the roads have improved. We, look at a yearly calendar. If you look at the yearly calendar of Varanasi, it's full of events. You have a Dev Deepavali happening where this year 11,000 lamps were lit across the river, and it's a sight for everyone to see. We have things like, the Nati Imli Bharat Milap, which is there. Now on Holi, we will have the Rangbhari Ekadashi coming up. We have a Kabir festival. So much of culture and other activities which will be done in the city to bring people in. And on the other side, there is development, and India's first rope way is coming to the city. So actually the technology is being input into the city for making it travel friendly. So I think, there's a lot of fun in the city, and metros need to catch up in few ways.
Vivek, so you make us all very jealous. There's a lot happening there, but it really shows that if the government and the community focus on it together, what stunning results we can get. So
I think
enjoy
it's also,
the
I think
sun
it's
while it's
also,
shining.
I think it's also a case for you to revisit the numbers.
Absolutely, I get the hint. So coming to another fellow colleague who's also in Uttar Pradesh. So Uttar Pradesh and Lucknow. Lucknow is where the hot seat is at the moment, the battle royale. Sunil, great place to be in again. I think UP is the land of plenty at the moment. But apart from the current demand, which I'm sure you are basking in all its glory, Lucknow has also been this amazing city which has been known for its kebabs, for its tehzeeb, for its chicken curry work. It's also a city which not only, of course, the government centered over there, but also drove a lot of business from neighboring cities. The airport network, the network for transportation has always been very sound.
Right.
Got some amazing world-class hotels in now. The number of hotels in that city, along with the network of transport, there should be some new development potential. What do you think Lucknow needs to do to really capitalize on its and continue the great time you're having at the moment?
Right. Thank you, Kanika, and thank you, BW, for having us in the show. It's a great panel to be part of. Yes, we've had a great run in the last 6 months so, and the hotels were buzzing. Lucknow, as you mentioned, the city of many splendors. So you have attractions like the Heritage Walk, taking you through the Nawab era monuments, culinary walk through the by-lanes of the famous catchment called Chalk, and which covers the famous food joints, which have been there for many generations. A bit of a dive into history and the Indian freedom struggle of the 1857 mutiny, and then you have the famous handicraft of chicken, which is it's a vast sort of a industry in itself, and just to name and further expand on the places of the heritage basically. So you have the Imambaras, the Chota and the Bara Imambara, and then you have Baradri and many other historical monuments, and government has done well in terms of preserving and sort of promoting it, and as part of showing it as the old culture of Lucknow. In fact, we do have a couple of existing Nawab families who sort of take you back to the Nawab era and sort of give you a complete sort of an experience through how the Nawab used to be, what they used to eat, and the whole of art, music, and culture, how the Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb, as Lucknow rather is famous for. So that's more on the heritage side, which sort of, and the history side, which obviously brings in a lot of interest, especially especially the European inbound travel, which of course has been suspended for a while now. Actually, and the main reason why in terms of the development and rather the good numbers coming in is the city itself and the key pockets of UP over the last many years, which has witnessed a steady development of and a major infra push, which is, I believe, a basic prerequisite for tourism and related opportunities. And in my opinion, if we talk about the last 6 months, I'll briefly sort of talk about the last 6 months, how it has been for Lucknow. And the one big change which sort of COVID has brought in and will certainly remain a trend for future, we all keep sort of talking about, is the rise in staycations, driven by the intent to explore local, drivable destinations, so as to speak. And that has come through seamless connectivity in form of multiple airports. I mean, the chief minister a few days back was boasting that UP as a state would have 5 international airport and total 9 overall airports within the country, making it the highest number of airports or within a state. And then you have the ever growing expressways. In the last year or so, I mean, there was a talk of a Purvanchal Expressway. Then we're talking about, which makes the decision easier for, travelers. And the other side to it is, of course, is the religious tourism. And we already have a, thriving Buddhist circuit, within the state. And once complete, we are actually looking at we're very positively looking at the Ayodhya circuit. Once the sort of temple comes close to completion, even now there is a lot of interest while in the making of the temple, and we do have a lot of visits. And Lucknow is a feeder city which sort of which caters to Ayodhya as of now. So that definitely is going to bring in immense opportunities to the city. And once the temple gets ready, On the infra side, as I mentioned earlier, one major development was the upcoming defense industrial corridor, which is being set up along 5 cities in UP, Lucknow being one of them. And this is being set up in form of nodes as such. This was after the very successful Defense Expo, which happened, within the city in early 2020, just before the pandemic set in. I think the prelude to that was the UP Investors Summit, which happened in 2018, and there's a lot of investment push and development of the infrastructure which has happened. Post that there is investment which has already been confirmed by both Indian and international business houses to set up businesses along with the city. Then we have the traditional business city of Kanpur, which has always been there, and which of course Lucknow feeds into Kanpur, and we're looking at a travel time of less than.
I just hope the Accor corporate team is watching this, for all the opportunities that are coming Sunil's way. Right?
I'm just gonna talk about what Accor is sort of looking at in towards my closure here.
The numbers. So the good thing about it, I'm going to butt in now over here for want of time.
Right.
There is so much of opportunity.
Right.
When we think out of a straight line, out of a box, we realize there's so much more. There are certain parts which we can influence. There are other parts which are not within our influence, but we could obviously push for them.
Right.
Having said that, this is our next show on the 27th, which is next Thursday, Effective Talent Management and Building Leaders for Tomorrow. Where are the leaders going to come from for the industry? They're going to come in from general management. They're going to come in from development. These are the two artillery and infantry rows of the industry. So we have Jatin Khanna, who's the market vice president for North India, Bhutan, and Nepal for Marriott International. We have Sonali Chauhan, who's the general manager of the Connaught. Sanjay Gupta, who's the general manager of the Le Méridien in Gurgaon. Rajat Sethi, who's the general manager of the ITC Grand Bharat. We have Harpreet Vora, who's the cluster general manager for Delhi and NCR. For Radisson, we have Mohammed Shoaib, who's the AVP for the Pride Plaza Hotel at the AeroCity. We have Pankaj Gupta, who's the general manager for the Crown Plaza, New Delhi in Mayur Vihar. So we've got these wonderful assets and wonderful general managers being covered on the show. Be there. So I shall now, Sunil, sorry I had to cut in.
That's all right.
We will now stay within. We are counting down to the show's end. We have 2 minutes per response. I shall start with Kanika for another question. For someone who holds sway over the central region, central is largely Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, or also, as like I said, we call the proverbial Hindi heartland. This is one huge geography to lord over. Let us hear your perspective and the challenges and opportunities. It would be nice of you to talk to us and share your views and expectations. What is your vision for this area of business that you head?
Manish, I think we have all heard it already. The region has tremendous potential. Today, when I look at what we heard about Uttar Pradesh, with the support of the government, things are changing. And that would be what I would have expected from any supportive government which looks at tourism as an opportunity to gain revenues. Madhya Pradesh, we have some way to go, but I think we are on the right path. There is enough push. The MP Tourism Board seems to be doing quite a bit. And it also means that we as hoteliers who are based out of MP need to engage with them more. Recently, we had a great example. Of course, we are not talking about that state on this show, but Uttarakhand actually, the government gave in 200 crores to develop tourism. And that shows the value tourism finally has in the books or the eyes of the governments. It puts a lot of pressure on us also because now we need to deliver. When I talk about challenges, I will not delve on the challenge all of us have seen. We have all learned how to live with the challenge of COVID. I think we've all done an exceptional job coming out of it. Yes, it's here again, but I know it will be over. We all need to look at the future with possibility and opportunity. The current month or the near future may be a little bit about survival. As hoteliers, we all look at experiences and building experiences for our guests. We do that best wake up breakfast with the sun rising on the mountaintop. That unique fishing trip in a place where nobody else would be able to go. That great anniversary visit to that mandir, which would otherwise have a whole queue. So we do a lot of experiences, but I think going further as a vision, as hoteliers, as hospitality, we will need to start building education for our clients and our guests. And why do I say that? Today's luxury is all about environment. Today's luxury is all about silence. Today's luxury is about being in an ecosystem. And as hoteliers, we need to survive that ecosystem and build community while taking care of our own business needs. So it's about going organic, it's about going local, taking care of local community, getting the local art and craft, and building sustainability for everybody. And in that process, we all learn a lot and we educate our guests a lot. So the future of tourism is about educating, about getting people to a state or a city like Bhopal and really helping them entrench into the culture, into the food, into the city. And experience lasts for some memories, education lasts forever. And that's my honest belief.
True. Very well said, Kanika. So I have very little to add to what you have said. Why don't you now take this on for the next part of the show?
So Gaurav, coming back to you, since we again spoke Bhopal, you head a hotel which is like history for this city. It is, when I say Numa Palace is the address for the city for so many years. It is, of course, the royal family has a lot to do with it. But apart from that is the location. It's what that hotel or that palace brings to life every day, along with you and the team. I recently had the good fortune of experience some of how you brought that history to life. Why don't you tell us a little bit of the palace history?
Thank you so much, Kanika. And honestly, thank you for this opportunity wherein you've got so many hotels, but you're giving us the chance to talk a little bit about this hotel. The way it's been described, or the way the Numa Palace has been described, is a hidden gem. So Bhopal was ruled by Begums. Bhopal is amongst the few states in the country which had women rulers. The last son of Sultan Jahan Begum was General Ubaidullah Khan, the commander-in-chief of the Royal State Force. His grandsons, or his direct lineage, are the ones who started this hotel in 1983. And the entire hotel, the entire experience of the hotel, of open spaces, of the culture, of honesty, all of that stems from the family's values of hospitality. Just to give you an example, we've recently started a concept which is called the General Stable. We were fortunate enough to lay our hands on a 100-year-old menu, or a few menus that the general would have when his guests would come down. Those same recipes, those same menus, that similar setting is what is recreated for all our guests. And people have really loved it, because that is not something that you'll get absolutely anywhere else in the country. The general's love for horses. So, the general used to love horses, he used to love the outdoors. So even now, we have horses in the hotel, and every morning and every evening they trot around our rooms. So unlike some other part of the country where you're probably sipping a cup of coffee in the morning and looking outside a glass window, here all our rooms open out into open spaces. And when you walk out into those spaces, you will see horses trotting around. That experience is unreal. Taking on from these kind of experiences, we've also have a couple of other units. Rainy Pani, which is a jungle lodge that the company owns, just 3 hours south of Bhopal, is magical. I mean, the best part of that place is it's in the buffer zone of the Satpura forest. There is no TV. There is no telephone. There is no mobile network. There is no Wi-Fi. So when you literally go there, you're so connected with yourself, and that experience is real. And all of this flows from the family's philosophy of being really, true to the experience that we're wanting to give. I mentioned in my last chat that I myself have been here for a long time. Compared to regular GMs, I think 7th year is a long time. But when I compare my tenure at this beautiful hotel, it drops in front of some of the other HODs. My spa head has been here for about 16 or 17 years. My F&B manager, unreal, has probably spent about 30 years at this hotel. IT, he's been here 16 years, and so on and so forth. So it's really people, like I said, they take pride in being part of this iconic hotel, and it all stems from, like I said, we are very lucky to have a very supporting ownership and who are genuinely nice people. So Bhopal definitely is a place for someone to visit if you've not already come here. And when you come into Bhopal, this is the hotel, or this is the location that you have to come to. In a way, I know Kanika has just opened up this beautiful Taj Hotel, but with all respect, it's a beautiful hotel. I've been there a few times, but at the end of the day, it's a lovely building. And when you come into a city, such as Bhopal, which is really open, you want to come into a place which has these lovely open lawns, horses trotting around, and we've got 6 restaurants.
I think we'll have to charge him for this promotion for the Januma.
No, but sir,
I think we all be looking for Reni Pani next.
Yeah. So Ajit, can you ready the bill, please?
You're most welcome, sir.
Yeah.
But again, words can't do justice to this location.
I have had the pleasure of staying at the Januma at least 15 to 20 times, if not more. Right. So I know the heritage about the hotel, and also what he hasn't told over here is that Januma were originally stables.
That again, there's a long history. So the central courtyard,
so you have to stay there for
100 years old.
Yeah. So we shall now, Kanika, move.
Please.
Yeah.
So thank you, Gaurav. I think more than Januma Palace, most of us are booking for the Reni Pani without cellular networks.
Oh yeah. And I'm
Manas.
And I'm getting there.
Manas, you're someone who's moved also locations, places, etc. And today we are seeing a reverse migration trend. People are moving from the larger metros, larger cities to the smaller 2 and 3 tiers. Gaurav's the ideal example for that. The excuses we hear are crowds, pollution, etc. But what do you think the impact of this reverse migration is on cities like where you are, Indore or Bhopal, where we are?
Kanika, just to, I would rather support the statement. I come from a city called Bangalore, where, for me, when I came to the city, when people used to tell me that, sir, you will travel 13 kilometers in 5 minutes, it was like, or 7 minutes for that matter, it was like, are you joking kind of a stuff. So, but then comes to the cleanliness. Everybody talks about it. And then when we see this happening right, I kept on looking in nook and corner that is it something, a hidden agenda that, the state wants to promote. I really couldn't find anything much. So I think what is also seen is a lot of people from the metros want to come down for the quality of life that it gives. It has all the basic healthcare and facilities that is there today. So what probably Indore was, I'm not too much familiar what it was, but what I see today is that it has everything which is in need of a good life. So it's in balanced proportion. Now somebody, who wants to lead a life and wants to still have an exposure because the city is developing. So the reverse migration is actually helping. And the best part is that Indoreans are very, very welcoming of the fact. They take a lot of pride in telling people that, listen, you've come from a metro to our city because you like the city more. I think from that perspective, we see the statement more often than not that, people saying that, you should settle down here, you should settle down here. And I've seen a lot of colleagues settling down here, actually. So people who has left the city, who has worked here in this hotel has been there for about almost more than 11 years. And all of the people who has worked here in the senior leadership team has some kind of assets in the city. They think that we are the custodian of the hotel. No, we will come back someday and we will stay in the city. So I think it's kind of a life that you want to look at probably after living a life in the metros, and where you get all the facilities, and it's a smoother life to live in. You at least live a few years more than what you're supposed to, I guess.
Rohit, MP also is known for, like we said, about the temples and the Jyotirlingams, etc. I won't call it religious tourism, but there's huge opportunity for spiritual tourism. There are amazing sites like Ujjain, Mahakaleshwar, the Sanchi itself, Omkareshwar. I mean, there are many, many more. Um, what are the opportunities you foresee with the presence of all these amazing spiritual sites? How do we maximize tourism with this?
Definitely having two Jyotirlingas out of the 12, I think it's a great blessing. Even from a religious point of view, if you may say, or from an influx of people. Because see, I'm situated right at the edge of the city, and it's about 45 kilometers from here to Ujjain. And Ujjain being a city which people generally don't go and spend a night or 2 nights in right now, as of now. But definitely there's a huge influx of people visiting Mahakaleshwar. So we serve as a like a helipad, if you may say, for Ujjain, because it's just an hour and a half hours drive. 3 hours to Omkareshwar, bang on the highway that we are on. So of course, there are many other places which are of, Amarkantak is one of the places that anyone can, think of. Mareva originates from there. But what, again, I would say is that a lot of these religious places are a little away from the centers of where people live. So Ujjain being equidistant from Devas and Indore, Amarkantak, of course, is closer to Karaan than me because of the largest of the state. Omkareshwar being very nearby to this place, there definitely exists an opportunity wherein cities like Indore, hoteliers in cities like Indore or in Bhopal for that matter, Bhimbedka is very nearby to you and Gaurav's current domicile. So there definitely exists a possibility. People are going to these places. We at Sheraton Grand Palace Indore, we see a lot of influx of people every day who are coming from Delhi, Bombay, who stay at our hotel, go to Ujjain, come back with their foreheads covered in saffron in the evening, and Banto Prasad to all our staff. I love it. I was still having it today in the afternoon. So there definitely is an opportunity. Of course, we as a hotel, we have curated packages for that, which is a unilateral effort from our side. But to develop the same thing on a larger front, definitely there needs to be an effort or a congregation, which of course we at when I head the faith chapter in Indore, we do talk about it with travel agents, hoteliers alike, because this is one piece of business, not only to be looked at as a business, it also has to be looked at as a incoming influx of business, not only for hotels but for people in general. Because when someone comes in, it's a multiple points of contact where they end up spending their revenue, giving employment to people, whether it's the guy on the street or it's a hotelier or a taxi driver or a dhaba near Mahakal temple. So this is definitely an opportunity area. We are trying as individual units, but I think with the organizations like ADTOI, which I keep speaking to very often, the faith chapter that we run in Indore, we are looking at ways and means. Of course, there was a speed breaker called COVID in our lives for the last couple of years. So I think having crossed that speed breaker, I think this is going to be the year where it's going to hot up. I was surprised to go to Omkareshwar, and I stayed at this place called Sailani Resort, which is in the middle of Ma Narmada. Amazing place. I've never seen a place like that in my life. I was blown away. And of course, it's a very unique place where people are paying a premium for it. So it's like a best kept secret of Omkareshwar. So there are so many opportunities we can take forward. We can do. It's limitless, if you ask me.
So, Karan, we're talking about mini metros on this segment. What do you think are the areas of growth for the hospitality industry in these mini metros?
I guess hospitality industry has immense growth to bank upon on these mini metros. Looking at what has happened in the metros and looking at the interstate immigration data, a lot have already made their bases move from main metros to tier 2 cities, also to be called as new mini metros. I think talking about the geography that we are covering today, if we talk about Indore and Raipur, the maximum people have immigrated from major cities towards these two cities, and there is a data to back it up. Not only that, it is not only to seek less polluted places, greener spaces, or spacious houses. It's also an opportunity for hotel industry where the businesses are shifting along. So Raipur itself and the nearby areas within just about 15-20 kilometers is home to about 60 large and middle class industries. It's a lot when you just resonate the value of Raipur in your mind, and then you hear this number. I think it's a big number to be seen, and to be seen in the place that's already on the verge of growing and can grow much faster and quicker. It has not only given an opportunity for hotels to have serve them as per the accommodation available, but it is the versatile taste that is coming from the metros is also encouraging for food and beverage aspect to grow, the wedding aspect to grow, the experiences to be delivered. So whether you're in a metro or a non-metro, nobody can hear a no anymore. Whether you don't have a gastropub in the hotel or you're not doing a fusion food, I think to say lesser or more, it's really heartening to be associated with Hyatt at this moment, because it's a very food and beverage centric organization, and we really focus on our food and beverage concept. I can say that we've gotten an opportunity to do evenings like sundowners in the hotel, which are only heard of in the metros. We conceptualize Hyatt at home. We go to places and we create experiences at people's farmhouses. We are very wide into outdoor catering, and not only that, the revision on the menu is quite frequent that I have not even witnessed while I had my experiences in the metros as well. So it's not only encourages the talent in the city, it also encourages the offering that we are doing, and we can easily be compared to any metro hotels also these days.
Great. So you're actually doing the education for the local Raipur clients. Wonderful.
Well, I would rather say that it's a very discreetly client. I mean, like, they are very well educated, very well traveled. In fact, the initial demands and the request came in from there, and then we thought that there is a scope, and we really paved a very beautiful road out there. And in Raipur, at least, Hyatt is known as the food trending place in the city.
You spoke about this earlier, so we're going to touch base on it again. Banarasi saris, highly exported from your city. Badoi carpets, again a high export item. But apart from that, next to Varanasi also has Sonbhadra, which is the energy capital for the country. This is where the reserves for limestone, for coal, even gold have been found. So apart from the spiritual tourism, do you see opportunity for transient or business travel?
So starting, Kanika, from Sonbhadra is basically kind of the second largest district in Uttar Pradesh. Still, a lot of people don't know about it. There are 3 thermal power plants over there, a lot of coal mines. Then we have the aluminium plant from Hindalco over there, which was one of the first one which developed the whole region in that. But when we look at, do we really have hotel infrastructure in Sonbhadra to host the people who come and visit these kind of facilities? We don't. So ideally they should have, but it's a brilliant opportunity for Varanasi to play a city which kind of feeds into these kind of businesses. We have a lot of PSUs who are using our hotel, and they kind of stay here for minimum 2 nights and then visit Sonbhadra and come back. Also, similarly, we are surrounded by things around Varanasi where the hospitality or the hotel infrastructure is still not ready. Bhadoi sees a lot of carpet exporters coming in, and They want to visit, they want to meet the people who are developing their sample pieces, and they kind of also stay in Banaras and then go over to Baduy and use it as the exit and an entry point for the business. We look at religious tourism in Prayagraj or at Vindhyachal, where the next corridor is coming up. It's a Durga Devi temple over there, which is also very, very famous. People again come and use Varanasi to stay and visit these destinations. So what has really helped us is a good international airport, very good railway infrastructure. Um, all the stations in Varanasi have been developed, and they are among the best which we can find in our country. And also the improvement in the roads, which because these distances are normally a 2-hour distance from the city. So all these roads have also the as such the business clientele or the corporate which is traveling, and we do get used as a transit point.
Great. So another opportunity for you. My last question, I'll put it to Sunil, please. In the current scenario, what do you think are the advantages the mini metro enjoys over our major ones?
I think this is one question which anybody on the panel sort of could take, since we are from mini metros here. But briefly, and as for the paucity of time, if we have to straight away talk on the business front, I think in metros, business clientele primarily drives occupancies with IT, ITES, BFSI, and head offices of various organizations forming the major chunk towards the business. One clear differentiator, of course, which has been in the recent past over the last 2 years, is the number in terms of the international travelers. And this has clearly impacted the metros and not so much the non-metros, since the numbers are usually lower as compared to metros. I think in non-metros, the economy is very laid out with the PSUs, MSMEs, local attractions, cities, history, and heritage, all contributing to the occupancy and the business, as such. In a way, hotels are not dependent on any one particular, segment and business rather, and which has been witnessed in the past 2 years as well. Branded hotel in non-metros somewhat also remain aspirational and caters to the larger landscape from nearby smaller towns as well. So thereby, forging a demand as well. Recently, this has transformed again into much of the staycations, where staycation business and a constant demand for, the social business. Talking about the social business and the impact, I would like to stress upon that, while if I'm a person staying in a metro, while I might like to go out in a metro and for my dining purpose or something, but if I want to get married, I'll choose my a non sort of a metro location or the city where I belong to. So that I think it has a larger sort of a impact or influx of business, the social business, which it sort of brings back to the non-metros, so as to speak. I think in terms of development, non-metros are also fast catching up, with rapid pace in rapid pace with the infra and the lifestyles brands sort of coming up. So not to miss much of the metro life, so as to speak. I think apart from that, and just as a closing line, I would say one usually finds a better sense of work-life balance with, Manas, I think, touched upon a certain number of hours of travel in Bangalore. So in terms of lesser travel time, cleaner air, affordable cost of living, perhaps, all these sort of factors, which are a sort of a major, in the current times, which are in the current scenario, which are major pluses towards the non-metros.
I must say this here, Kanika, with your permission. Look at China and look at India. Look at the new metros, the new cities that have come up in China over the last 30, 40 years, and look at what has happened in India. We can only talk about Raipur or that new city which was coming up in Andhra Pradesh. What was the name? The new capital city? Amravati.
Amravati.
Right? The only new major city that we can think about was Chandigarh, which was in the 60s. right? How much more can Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai take? I mean, you have these cities which are tearing at the seams. Delhi is 2.5 CR people, right? So is Mumbai. Bangalore is a mess. I mean, if I have to go from Sarjapur to MG Road, I have to plan for 2.5 to 3 hours of staying on the road. I mean, I go through the wind tunnel road and all the shortcuts, and I go through Bilandur village. I mean, where are we headed? So I think the catch is the existing mini metros, the tier 2 and tier 3s have to step up, and we need more towns, right? So India as a country of they say 1.35 billion people, right? So where are they going to stay? Not much more vertical. So, okay, this was my 15th question. I shall hand over to Kanika before we close the show for her to summarize.
I think you summarized very well, Bhuvanesh. It is, I'm sure you can see the glowing faces on the screen. Better work-life balance, you heard it from everyone. Great quality of work, great opportunity as far as business goes, great support from our governments. And I think we also heard community and government partnership can do so much more. So that also energizes all of us. And also as hoteliers looking differently and rightfully said, not only focusing on the large metros, the career opportunity and the opportunities today for growth in hospitality are in the cities. We represent so many more like these. So thank you, and thank you to the team on the screen. Lovely connecting, and stay in touch. Thank you, Bhuvanesh, once again.
So Kanika, great show. I mean, for me, I loved it. I mean, I'm stepping out, and I'm going to step out further from the cities, the metro cities, right? I'm going to be there. I think we need to give more visibility to the talent that heads great assets outside the 5 metros or the 6 metros. If I was to take in Hyderabad and Ahmedabad as a metro, so I think expect more from us. Tell us what we could do more at BW Hotelier. Having said that, no show is good as long as you have good moderation. And Kanika's done a 10 on 10 job. Kanika, you head the region and you headed this show with aplomb, right? So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And so I shall be coming to Bhopal very soon. Soon as this third wave ebbs, I'm going to be there. We shall all get together. We'll be missing Sunil and Vivek. We shall get together in Lucknow and Varanasi.
Absolutely. Look forward.
With when Kanika is there or others are there. So good show. This augurs well for our industry that we've got such brilliant general management in locations, and keep doing the good work. So let's also once again talk about the next show, which is coming next week, which is the 27th of January, Thursday, Effective Talent Management and Building Leaders of Tomorrow. The general management and development are the pipelines for tomorrow's CXOs. So we shall debate that. This show is headed by Jatin. We've got Sonali, Jehan, Sanjay Gupta, Rajat Sethi, Harpreet Vora, Mohammad Shoaib, and Pankaj Gupta. Thank you all for being there. Thank you for your faith in BW Hotelier. We shall do more. And there are more events also coming, by the way.